apart from maybe little things I will have done in my community and all that, you know, to help people and all that, I will indeed demand that the people of my community should contribute to me to go and serve them, because I'm running their errand. So if you think that that's too idealistic, don't send me on any errand.
But you know that's not going to happen right now.
If it doesn't happen,
okay.
but
Here we're talking about what obtains versus where we want to get to. Because the sad part about what's happening in Nigeria is we are indeed in the place where if you do go to people and say, I want to do ABC for you, the first question they ask you is, what else are you going to do for me that is immediate? You know, immediate gratification. And I say this because I have an acquaintance, for example, that is trying to voluntarily educate civil servants in a state government in this country. And I won't say which state government it is, but you know, he runs like a foundation, an NGO, which is very interested in empowering people in public service. And he entered into an MOU to provide free training, you know, for civil servants on certain things, and then was sent, you know, down to the local government level. And the first meeting he had with the local government chairman were, well, where's the money in this for us? And so it is true what he's saying, that is what obtains at the moment. The challenge for Nigeria and Nigerians is really how to start to move away from that and inculcate that culture that says, actually, if I'm coming to serve you, you should support me, so that when I get there, it's all about you, and you can hold me to account because you are vested in the process that brought me into office. How do we do that?
Okay, I think the starting point,
that comes from the leadership.
The starting point was
examples that are set, a responsible leader, an accountable leader, and that trickles down.
Okay,
and begins to change a systemic problem.
Aren't we missing something? And I know that the situation is still not settled yet, but aren't we missing something? Even if it is not settled, we can reference that. You had a man who had been contesting for election for about 4 years, for about 4 times. And he always consistently had a chunk of votes. Not because he had too much money that he was using to bribe ordinary people. And at a particular point in time, there was a realization across political divides that that kind of man is a man that ought to be worked with to have an alliance or a merger. Even in this as corrupt as what we see. So that is an example we can, regardless of whether he ends up winning any election and all that.
It's doable.
It's doable.
Very doable.
And in this election, how many persons has he personally been able to give money to support him?
Well, I understand we have a report lined up on Nigerians decrying exclusion after elections. And I want to believe it's a story of, you know, the common man or the electorate supporting someone into political office, and then once he gets there, well, the story ends. Maybe we can see some very interesting perspectives from this very next report.
This is the road leading to Mapa community, a settlement which is just a few kilometers away from the capital city. In spite of its closeness to the seat of power, the community lacks basic amenities. This river, for instance, has served as a major source of water supply for young and old in this community. Residents decry the constant promises made by politicians in previous years without any meaningful development.
Every time they do come, they promise us one thing or the other, but at the end of the day, they don't live up to expectations. Well, as for me, they're all human, but I know by His grace, one day they will fulfill it.
The situation in this community did not call for a plea from the older residents, but the young ones alike. But what are the expectations from the people living in this community who went to various polling units to vote for candidates of their choice?
We need light. We don't get light here. And our road no good. see river every day. If you rain season come now, to go cross, go pape na wahala. We no get road, we no help, and no light, and pop away day here. You no do us now. Only one day here.
The government has forgot about this pape. They look this pape as nothing. Like people are not living here, but people are here. Majority people that are here, like you check the election day before yesterday, they have majority vote here. The population in Papa is even more than any part of FCT.
The election has been held again with many promises made by politicians to change the lives of people in communities such as Mapa. Residents of local communities look forward to dividends of democracy when the new leaders emerge in the days ahead.
Well, then we were talking about the politicians seeking political office and the electorate, and of course the demands placed on either party, the demands the electorate places on the politician, and of course the demands the politicians would place on the electorate. Well, one is, give me your support. The other says, okay, we will support you. Now, you know, the term support now becomes rather nebulous, at least from the point of view of the politician. When he says support, he means vote. But from the side of the electorate, well, where does the support begin and where does it end? Does it is it pre-election or post-election?
Yeah, but this report should speak to the conscience of the politicians who are guilty of this thing.
One man said they come here, they ask for our vote, they make promises. If maybe Kadira is insisting that sometimes they even whet their appetite.
Oh, definitely.
And then, of course,
but I think
everything fizzles into the thin air.
Some other thing that comes out of this election cycle, I think, is that voters or Nigerians will begin to hold politicians accountable. We've talked about some of the states where the governors were not able to deliver their state to their parties at the national level. And so it's getting to a point where politicians have to understand that citizens will vote them out if they don't deliver, in quote. And then also Nigerians have to come to the point where they realize that there's more to just a bag of Indomie or whatever it is they collect. And to reference the Bible, that you don't sacrifice your birthright for a mess of porridge just because you're hungry at the moment, to forget that tomorrow you're going to be hungry again. So I think it goes both ways. Nigerians have to begin to demand more from their leaders, from politicians, and not just what they get immediately.
As a fallout of an economy that has a lot of, where the bridge between the rich and the poor is too great and it's too wide, and there's an existential lifestyle, and that is what causes people to
keep it that way.
Exactly, but there has to be a point where there has to, because if in a society where certain social programs are provided in Nigeria, in fact, Nigerian leaders are lucky because Nigerians are so easy to please. For instance, just provide electricity. Just give them electricity. Give them good roads, more or less. Nigerians are happy. They will work hard. They will do the rest for themselves. So Nigerians are not even asking for too much. So if it's a society where certain basic social programs, basic infrastructure are present, politicians don't have to try so hard. Nigerians will pick it up from there. So Nigerians have to start demanding more beyond. On Saturday, in some places, my community back in Akwa Ibom, people, they were receiving 500 naira and I think 1 kg of rice to vote for the party that won in that state. You know, so Nigerians have to go beyond that and ask for more, ask for roads, ask for basic amenities in the community.
And that refusal to be passive, I think, is critical, because politicians are not going to give up things just easily, just like that. What happens now suits them perfectly, because then they don't have to be responsible to anyone. Once they get into government, they can focus on their primary constituency, i.e. themselves and their immediate family, and maybe the person who sort of helped them get into office. And it's just a really easy life from that point of view. You know, we talk sometimes as if politicians are also not Nigerians, if you see what I mean. Yes. They're picked from the rampant.